My name is Lisa Moneymaker. I've been with Medidata about 18 months now. I lead now the entirety of our research and development organization for clinical operations technology. Obviously, CTMS being a key part of that. Just to give you my background, I spent about 20 years in pharma and clinical operations IT. The majority of that was in defining and building the Amgen CTMS ecosystem, which honestly had every integration known to man. And my last 3 years there, I led the shared investigator platform and the investigator registry initiatives for Transcelerate on behalf of Amgen. Those experiences brought me in direct connection to the different CTMS and ClinOps paradigms that play out across the industry. And it was those experiences that have ultimately brought me to Medidata. Because in my last couple of years at Amgen, we had transformed our CTMS and our operations space in pursuit of risk-based study execution models. We coupled that with adaptive study design, all manner of efficiencies that could bring us as the business was being really innovative and IT was partnering strongly to bring that to them. But as I'm sure that would resonate with you, as we tried to move into more and more innovative space, the cost to upgrade and maintain those legacy systems became dizzying. The integrations that we would need to touch to make the smallest changes started to become really cost prohibitive, and we found ourselves becoming an IT shop and not an innovative pharma company. So we looked to the industry for a technology vendor partner that could work with us to bring the innovation we were looking for and carry forward the strategies that we wanted to be able to put in place in that space. And quite frankly, we didn't find anyone that had even caught up to what we had already built. So it was shortly after that that I made the decision to join Medidata. I was brought in to transform Medidata's approach to RBQM, which at the time was a distinct product line from CTMS. I already had my eyes set on how I wanted to unify those. And in transforming our approach to RBQM, it would be fundamental that we would transform our approach to CTMS. So what we're going to talk about today is the vision and execution I brought over the last 18 months to that has done exactly that. And my goal is that the capabilities I'm going to walk you through today will really resonate. That doesn't mean that everything I show you today needs to be something that you adopt. We're very flexible in the approach that we bring together for this. And what we want to do is be the technology partner that's going to enable whatever your vision is for clinical operations. We're going to bring that to you through integrated capabilities, collaborative workflows, and real-time data that's fundamentally going to drive high-quality, life-changing treatments for patients. So let's jump into that. I'm going to talk today about what is in place today. So you're going to see a lot of technology pieces that we have brought together to change the definition of what CTMS can be. So a question we get a lot, and that I had when I came to Medidata, is what has Medidata been doing in not just the clinical operations space, but with really all of our systems? I think that there's a lot of this perception because of our prevalence in classic Rave, that's really sort of our strong suit and the only thing that we're focused on. In truth, what we've been doing is preparing for the future of clinical trials. That means taking the data that we have from 20 years worth of historic Rave study conduct and marrying that with the future of where data is going to be. Things like eSource, eConsent, sensor cloud, all the different patient-centric technologies that are coming to bear that bring just this tremendous amount of data to market. But what do you do with that? Medidata is fundamentally a data-driven company. We think that differentiates us in market. We believe this is truly the value that companies need to be able to transform their approach, again, to insights and action. Making sense of all of this data is hard. Let's not sugarcoat what this means. And this is why the last 3, 4, 5 years that Medidata has been investing in this. And how do we unify that data? It's great to have 20 different systems, 50 different inputs from patients. But if you can't make sense of the data, you won't be able to transform with the future of clinical trials. So the investments that we have made that we then bring to our customers is being able to centralize, aggregate, make sense of this data to provide you fundamentally with actionable insights. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, because this is the future of where CTMS can be. And this is how we launch you into that space. So just as I talked about aggregating that data, we bring it together in a series of capabilities. You'll hear as we continue our relationship, I'm sure, talk about the platform. And this is what we mean. It is fundamentally a series of solutions and capabilities on top of unified data, all of that investment that we've pulled together to bring historic data, unify it with existing data, new trial data, CRO data, lab data, Rave EDC data, classic data, third-party EDC data. We're ready to work with the flexibility of companies and what they're bringing to us at any particular time to be able to surface that up. What does that mean for you? That means seamless master data management, a unified experience on the platform. You log in once, you have seamless and persistent navigation across any capability as you move in and out. It means enter the data once and it's surfaced in many places. It means collaborative workflows that cross any particular capability that they're working in. And then fundamentally, it means you can get the data back out to perform whatever additional actions that you need. So data in, supporting a platform, and data out. Now, those sorts of things, that the platform capabilities, that's table stakes. And you're going to talk, I'm sure, to a lot of vendors who can bring that sort of information to you and talk to you about a seamless user experience and talk to you about single sign-on. But what they won't be able to bring, again, is the depth of the data and the insights into that data. We believe it's critical to be a data-driven company when we're talking about the future of clinical trials. And this is really what sets us apart. So you'll notice I didn't talk about specific products there. We have a lot of capabilities, and this is a change in the way that we think about the way that we can bring solutions to you as our partner. And what that means is that depending on what you need, we can surface a series of capabilities that work seamlessly together to support that. So CTMS, often thought of as this large monolithic system. What we bring and what I'm going to show you today is the way that we can start to bring capabilities into what might traditionally be thought of as a wrapper around a CTMS product, but really it's stitching these pieces together, stitching together the insights, bringing seamlessly data in from one to another, and you don't have to worry about those integrations. Because again, that's what we've been building for the last 3 and 4 years, is harmonizing this data in a way that's centralized so that it takes the worry out of your hands for how to maintain that. So let's get in. What supports CTMS here and what sets us apart? Historically, the clinical operations approach has been somewhat static in the sense that you have a transactional system that supports you doing the sorts of study insights and dashboarding and trip reports that you need to do to be able to maintain effective oversight. Central review is something that came into play as we started talking about RBQM, but a traditional CTMS generally doesn't support that very well. We certainly weren't talking about remote source or remote monitoring, and we were generally doing either 100% on-site monitoring, or maybe we were flipping it a little bit with some concept of remote monitoring. This is not optimized study oversight. So let's talk about what we bring to you in this space. What we want to do is empower your strategy, your clinical operations strategy. And we do that by giving you, again, that big wheel of capabilities underneath the hood of what you would traditionally think of as a CTMS that's up to you to dial up and down. You can dial it up and down based on a company-wide strategy, a therapeutic area strategy. You can bring it study by study. How much central monitoring do you want to do? Who should do the central monitoring? Is that a central monitoring group, or are you empowering your CRAs to have those deeper insights? How do you want to change your approach to targeted data verification and source data review? How do you want to get that source data? Are you going to have a lighter touch physically with the sites, either because of a situation we had last year with COVID, or because that's part of your monitoring strategy? And do you want to move into a space where you're interacting with sites based on targeted action, meaning we don't have a set plan as to we're going to see them every 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, but instead we space that out and we say, I'm going to see the sites when something occurs that I see within the data centrally to allow me to know that I need to take action with the site. But we put the power of these dials in your hands. The system is configurable so that you can make these adjustments and you decide what your clinical operations strategy is, and have faith that the technology will support it, and it will support it as we continue to innovate in the way that you want to run the business. So let's ground that. Again, we're going to talk about systems that exist today, capabilities that exist today to augment your strategy in clinical operations. We brought to market last year, it delivered in November, a brand new approach to risk assessments and risk management. It's ICH E6R2 driven with repeatable templates and super simple adoption. We've had great success bringing this into companies and getting them started in 1 to 2 weeks. It's really been fantastic in the way it's easy to adopt and easy to come together. And what it fundamentally lets you do is have a great understanding of of what are the risks associated with a particular trial, and then to really transactionalize the functional plan. What are the mitigations I need to put in place that might be associated with that risk? How do I trace that to an actual action that I take within my ecosystem to make sure that those mitigations are in place? And then if that risk comes to bear, if I see it starting to happen, what is my action plan that I can use to drive workflows, again, seamlessly within the system? And we'll talk about that to actually bring them together. And those insights can be automatically calculated, again, because of all of the data that we've surfaced underneath and brought together to help you understand how that particular risk is doing. So if you've defined KRIs and QTLs, we'll be running the calculations for those with Seamless that we'll talk about in just a second, artificial intelligence and machine learning to drive those insights from the data to help you understand from a central dashboard, how's my study doing? Insights to action. All within a beautiful, easy to understand interface that can empower your CRAs to have those insights right at their fingertips, able to drive action. Again, we're not collaborating information from a lot of different sources. We're not surfacing up 17 different reports. We're putting the power at their fingertips to understand the state of their study, of their site, of the country that they're working in, so that they can take action appropriately. So how do we do that? We do that with a tool and a capability that we call Medidata Detect, which is detection of unknown errors and risks. This is really fundamental outside of traditional KRIs, able to calculate QTLs as well, but really bringing together next generation anomaly detection. This lets us start to bring together our traditionally data management group with our central monitoring, our CRA group, who needs those sorts of insights. And we can shorten the cycle time between those groups. And what that does is it gets us closer to the data and closer to the insights. So allow Medidata Detect to run across, again, that full and complete data source, whether it's EDC data, patient-centric data, whether it's data coming in from a third-party lab, centralized, surfaced, aggregated, and able to have, again, these deep statistical programs running across them that didn't require you to predict them, right? These are running unsupervised. It's fundamentally a powerful tool that puts the insights gathered from those into the hands of your users so that they can make better decisions based upon them. So what do we do when we find something? When we find something in those tools, when we find something in that analytical run, we can seamlessly take action on it. Now, I'm not leaving where I was. I'm not leaving where I found it. I'm saying there's an issue. Let me tie an issue to it and action it out appropriately. Maybe I'm creating an action plan for myself. Maybe I'm saying I'm the CRA and I've discovered that there's potentially an issue at this site. Let me set up an action plan to dive deeper into it, to bring in others, to collaborate in that workflow. And I can draw them in using task management and actioning and wrap it with an issue so that it's traceable from start to finish. And I have clear understanding of bringing that to resolution. And that's really powerful. We're talking about not dropping workflows. We're talking about not having separate spreadsheets where we have to be tracking these issues and hoping they're coming to completion. And then where we're getting is the ability then to understand trends in those issues. Where am I seeing a lot of site level trends that might be indicating something else is happening at that study? Maybe something is aggregating across studies that's letting me know I might have a problem in my particular therapeutic area or with an entire program or specifically with an asset. These are the sorts of learnings we can surface when we start to bring this data together and bring these insights together. So again, we've got issue management, collaborative coming together. And now let's drive some of those insights directly into the sorts of dashboards that you would want to see within your CTMS. So out of the box, we're surfacing those insights, helping our teams understand what are the key risk indicators for their particular study, how's it affecting their sites, how's it playing out across the countries. These can be customized for each particular study, or we have out-of-the-box ones that'll get you started early as you continue to mature your process around what you want to be doing in this area. Again, integrating those actionable oversights and providing this differentiation and user empowerment, putting this in their hands. And this isn't just a self-entered set of tables of how's the KRI doing. Again, automatically calculated, surface with the insights because of the power of the analytics we're able to put on top of that data. So imagine a world then where CRAs are empowered to understand the insights as we're seeing here today, where they can request documents as they need to do deeper source review. And we're starting to bring that together. And that's a capability, that remote source review, that we were able to spin up just this past summer in response to the changing guidelines. How are we able to do that so quickly? Again, because of that big wheel of capabilities, we're able to start to deploy those capabilities in unique and innovative ways quickly in response to changes in the industry. And that's true innovation. True innovation isn't a 10-year plan that says, here's where I'm going to go in 10 years, and I think I can predict what's going to change. Who could have seen what came with COVID last year? But what we had was a series of capability and a deep understanding for the data that lets us make those immediate pivots to be able to give you the power you need for trial continuity and trial excellence. So again, remote source review coming together. So now let's talk about what happens when you're planning your studies really well in advance with mitigations and actions, and you're bringing it together with a strong, empowered CRA who has deep insights into the actions. And then we're able to bring that and augment that with a remote source capture capability that lets us get source directly from the sites. What we go to, again, everything you've seen so far exists today. This is our innovation. This is where we're going next. This is hands-on keyboards working on this capability right now. This is our CRA virtual monitoring desk. This is the idea that now if I start to stitch those capabilities together, how do I transform the experience for the CRA into something we've not seen before? And that is from their desk, the ability to do all of the same activities that they would do on site in a compliant way, but digitally enabled. So from their desk, able to stitch together that remote source access, live video visits to have interactions with the sites, just like they do with patients in terms of the telehealth, bringing together that deep reporting capability straight out of CTMS, combining it with next generation SDV and SDR sampling strategies. Again, all empowering the CRA at their fingertips with those deep insights, so that now we're changing the paradigm of where they go. You talk about device independence. We can put our systems on any device you'd like, but this transforms the experience. This means we are location independent in the way that we enable our CRAs. We have a series of capabilities unlike any other on top of unique data insights that allow us to innovate this quickly in this area. So let's anchor this all together once again in CTMS. For us, CTMS is the hub of digital oversight. Oversight of subject data is paramount to quality study execution and patient safety. The closer and the more timely to the source, the more accurate the insights. And we can do this differently than everyone else because of our historic data, as well as how close we bring you to all of those aggregated data sources all together. We've shown you collaborative workflows that cross teams and break down silos, moving things seamlessly across the platform to engage, to bring those teams together. And that lets you efficiently deploy your resources, both internally and externally. You'll know where the CRAs need to be because we're giving you the insights to know. We'll know where you need to be focusing your resources because of increased risk or increased issues happening at the site. And that lets you get really targeted. But again, empowering you to make those decisions. How do you want to run clinical operations? We're going to give you the tools and we're going to continue to innovate, and you're going to deploy them the way that you need to. So where else do we go with this? CTMS is fundamentally powering decentralized trial. It's critical. Future trials will not look or perform the same as in the past, and your CTMS needs to be ready to support all manner of brick and mortar and decentralized trials. And that means things like site and country and study level reporting and analytics. And that's pretty much table stakes for a CTMS at this point. But let's talk about the insights. If we go back to that first slide again and we think about things like sensor cloud and understanding the wearables, and we bring together eCOA data along with other patient-centric reporting. Now let's talk about what happens when we're bringing in data from sensors and we understand, for example, the daily step count for a patient. And we're bringing that together with their eCOA data, and their patient diary says, for example, that they felt great yesterday. But we're looking at their step count, and their step count says that they sat on the couch all day. And we didn't even have to go looking for that because, again, Detect told us that there's a discrepancy there. It notes that when people feel good, they tend to be walking around a lot. But here I have a patient who didn't do that. We're able to see that immediately and clearly and drive action to that particular site and direct to that patient. Now we're talking about not just empowering CRAs, but empowering CRAs to have better conversations with the sites for the purpose of patient safety. This is transformative. And we bring it all together because of those actions and insights. We got you close to the data, and then we powered it with the investments that we've been making in artificial intelligence, in data science. Insights to action is what transforms a CTMS from the last 20 years, 15 years, 10 years of a static data aggregator to truly a transactional system that can provide you the oversight needed in a high-performing trial. Again, why can we innovate quickly? This is why, because the learnings that we're doing, we're packaging up and delivering as capabilities across our platform. So what comes next? Real-time intelligence, feasibility and site performance. These are screenshots from our Acorn group right now. This is what's coming into CTMS, is the ability to understand site performance over time as you're planning for those particular sites within CTMS, enriching and giving you direct feedback. Dynamic forecasting and recasting. So not just static milestones, what do I think my study's going to do? How's my enrollment going to go? But based on what's actually happening, let's reforecast that plan and understand what's actually happening real time. And then site level tracking of study performance versus similar studies. How's my study doing and what's going on across the rest of the industry, which includes site congestion? Do we have a lot of studies of this particular therapeutic area going on as we speak? And maybe that's going to drive down my patient availability. These are the insights that power you to make better decisions. And we are so excited for this area. And again, we are baking this right now, combining those capabilities first quarter next year. So again, anchoring you back to this spoke, this is deep analytics and insights within our CTMS. All of that powered by RBQM. So we've talked about RBQM principles. An RBQM is a process, it's not a system. A CTMS can't force you to be risk-based, but it can enable you to achieve your vision for that process. And that means traceability from assessments to plan mitigations to effective oversight, reactive action, all within a unified trial management environment. And that's critical for having great high-performance trials. The insights, the workflows, the proximity to data that we've talked about today is changing what it means to have a risk-based and a quality approach to clinical operations excellence. And again, these are the tools that you'll have at your fingertips with the Medidata ecosystem. We can turn these on for you. You can apply your process to our systems and understand that our technology will be there to support you with as advanced and as innovative as you want to take your business process. All of it, again, culminating in virtual monitoring. First quarter next year, we'll be delivering live video visits between monitors and sites with next generation SDV and SDR strategies, directly connecting you to that remote source, able to bring that in at the click of a button. Again, all of this culminating in insights, data, targeted action, deep reporting capabilities, digitally enabled. This is the future of CTMS for us, and it's here. So again, really excited to be here with you today, really excited to take this journey with you, and I hope that we're a part of your evaluation of your clinical operations landscape. We believe we can bring something transformative to what you're doing and be a really strong partner for you in this area. So excited to continue the conversation. Thanks so much for your time.